With even closer to the border, if Oga Immigration will stand up and tell you the pressure we have of people coming into this country, you'll be shocked. We are not medical doctors, we are not medical personnel, but we take risk to push these people back. Because of the closure of the border, I'm telling you, without clearance from an NTA office, nobody, whoever you are, to pass the border. We cannot say completely. Before we started with partial closure. Later we turn it to complete closure. So the movement of persons, goods have been ensured because of the closure of the border, everything has been stopped. Whether legal or illegal business, everything has been stopped. The legal business advantage to us because they are now going back to the normal route. If you dare decide to pass there and you enter our hand, is to prosecute you.
The officers are taking round some border points and more explanations are provided regarding other aspects of border drill operations. They also get to meet and interact with some members of the border communities so as to appreciate the level of good of relationship. Some of the officers narrate their experiences.
The experience has been very, very enlightening and educative. You know, it's another thing to know the theory, but when you practically experience it and you are given the privilege to come from the college now to command and practically, you know, experience the things they've been learning, we've gotten a better understanding right now of the collaborative efforts that Nigerian Customs Service, you know, is involved in with other stakeholders in enhancing national security.
For us that are in the middle ranking cadre of the service, this is an experience where we have information that in going forward we should be able to use in our duties.
This study tour is expected to impact positively on the performances of officers in the discharge of their official duties.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide a company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264 or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. Application for iOS or Android. Intelsat 901/332.5 degrees east. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
I am a Nigerian. I am one in 5 Africans. I am a Nobel Prize winner, a soccer champion, a giant of literature, a musical icon. My roots lie in the dusty Sahel of the north, in the rich rainforests of the east, in the savanna plains of the west, and in the oil-filled swamps of the delta. My strength flows from the waters of the Niger and the Benue. Nigeria is my home. I am the voice of 200 tribes speaking more than 200 languages. I am the laughter of the world's happiest people. I am my brother's keeper. I am a child in one of the youngest nations on earth. I am the passion. I am the soul of a continent. I am a Nigerian.
In the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, information management is key.
I'm Cyril Stober.
Fatima Umar Buba.
Joseph Johnson.
Ian Ray.
John.
Muhammad Kudu Abubakar.
Jumbo Yusuf.
My name is Kirian Umaya.
Here in NTA, we're working very hard to make sure that everything we broadcast is accurate and up to date. Misinformation spreads very fast.
The social media has been a huge conveyor of misleading information from one individual to another, then to another set of groups. In a short while, it goes viral, and before you know it, it is all over the world.
There have been several misleading information on coronavirus COVID-19. Recently, the misconception of 5G as a cause of coronavirus is becoming widespread. Another is the belief that hot beverages and alcoholic drinks are internal cleanser for COVID-19, thereby leading to excessive consumption of these drinks.
The use of local concoctions as treatment for COVID-19 are yet to be scientifically proven. However, there has been several theories about the efficacies of these concoctions. We should stay safe and denounce all manner of fake news and
I would like particularly to congratulate President Muhammadu Buhari for leading the regional COVID-19 response efforts.
Don't cause another political crisis in the guise of tenure elongation. President Buhari cautions ECOWAS leaders at 57th extraordinary session.
When we met 1 year ago, little did we know that the world will be in a serious economic, social and health crisis.
Federal government explains tough economic politics, says decisions not meant to inflict hardships on citizens. INEC, political parties and police intensify preparations for Edo and Ondo elections.
I feel very happy. I haven't seen my husband for 6 months.
Plus, Abuja Airport records surge in passengers as international flights resume. Good evening and welcome to the NTA Network News. We are live in Abuja. My name is Kenan Ima Abodikem. Also reading tonight are Adeola Komi Akere in Lagos and Jenny Basi in Port Harcourt. President Muhammadu Buhari has strongly warned that with the enormous socio-economic and security challenges confronting West Africa, the sub-region cannot afford another political crisis in the guise of tenure elongation. This was while addressing the 57th extraordinary session of the Authority of ECOWAS Heads of State and Government in Niamey, the Republic of Niger. The president is also worried over the premature adoption of ECO as single currency by French-speaking West African countries, stressing the need for them to return to agreed roadmap as foreign interference may not be in the interests of the sub-region. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo tells us more.
Converging on Niamey for the first time under one roof since the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic, the West African leaders clearly demonstrated their renewed commitment towards strengthening the integration of the ECOWAS sub-region.
In order to ensure peace and security in our common area, we have a duty not only to honor our pledges, but also to develop and implement a joint defense and security policy. So I wish to thank the Federal Republic of Nigeria for its recent decision to provide a contribution of $100 million after a similar gesture by UMY in 2019.
I would like particularly to congratulate President Muhammadu Buhari for leading the regional COVID-19 response efforts.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who addressed the summit in a closed session, expressed worry over attempts by some leaders in West Africa to perpetuate themselves in power beyond constitutional provisions. He advised that such temptations must be resisted and free, fair as well as credible polls guaranteed, as the sub-region cannot afford another political crisis. On plans towards the actualization of the single currency program, the president said the premature adoption of ECO by the francophone countries in the sub-region has unnecessarily heightened disaffection and mistrust amongst members. While urging them to return to the agreed roadmap, President Buhari insists that those economic convergence criteria must be based on sound and sustainable macroeconomic fundamentals. And to achieve this, he said, delinking the CFA franc from the Eurozone is the starting point, saying African solutions must be preferred for African problems. The Nigerian leader also touched on terrorism as the greatest security threat in West Africa, saying Nigeria is particularly concerned with the rapidity at which terrorist groups are now working together against the interests of member countries. President Muhammadu Buhari said urgent steps must be taken to review these ugly developments and act decisively on the emergence of early warning signs towards guaranteeing the safety and survival of the sub-region. From Niamey, Republic of Niger, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the ECOWAS champion on the fight against COVID-19, has formally submitted a situation report on the global pandemic to the West African leaders. He described as gloomy the outlook for the sub-region, saying, however, that collective resolve must be demonstrated towards harnessing the opportunities that come with the pandemic, despite its negative impact on lives and livelihood. The president said member countries must pool resources together in unity for joint and coordinated efforts to ensure a regional response to the fight against COVID-19. This, he said, will go a long way towards saving the present and the future generations from multiple health challenges. He said efforts must also be redoubled in preparing their national economics to withstand impending shocks against prospective multi-sector challenges that await the sub-region. President Buhari, however, said this is no easy task, hence the need for the ECOWAS leaders to embrace their collective vision for the future with greater determination, innovative thinking and creativity. The summit also received reports on security and the ECOWAS single currency, amongst others. Amidst outcry raised by Nigerians over the increase in fuel pump price and electricity tariff, President Muhammadu Buhari says his government is not insensitive to the current economic difficulties. Represented by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the opening of a two-day ministerial performance review retreat, the president says he is convinced that brighter days are ahead. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
It is just a few days after a year that the ministers had the first retreat right here at the banquet hall of the State House.
Your Excellency,
they are back to review how far they had gone in the implementation of policies, programs and projects to improve the quality of the lives of Nigerians and set Nigeria on the path of prosperity. The president had reiterated the resolve of the administration to set the stage for lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 10 years.
When we met 1 year ago, little did we know that the world will be in a serious economic, social, and health crisis that has left even the major economies of the world in disarray.
While the commitment and dedication is still on course, some unforeseen circumstances had led to the government taking some hard and painful decisions.
The COVID-19 pandemic has led to a severe downturn in the funds available to finance our budget and has severely hampered our capacity. One of the steps we took at the beginning of the crisis in March, when oil prices collapsed at the height of the global lockdown, was the deregulation of the price of premium motor spirit, such that the benefit of lower prices at the time was passed on to consumers. The effect of the deregulation is that pump prices of petrol will change with changes in global oil prices. This means, quite regrettably, that as oil prices go higher, we could see some increases in pump price. The second danger is the potential return of fuel queues, which has thankfully become a thing of the past. Nigerians no longer have to endure long queues just to buy petrol. This retreat is very important, and participants are urged to accord priority to the deliberations. The outcome of the retreat is expected to pave way to accelerating the delivery of government policies, projects, and programs in the coming years.
And the president also called on ministers and senior officials to accordingly ensure the vigorous and prompt implementation of the economic plan programs, which will give succor to Nigerians. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The federal government has restated that every decision it takes is in the overall interest and common good of the citizens. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this at a joint media briefing on the recent increases in petrol and electricity prices in Abuja. Anthony Forson reports.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed, alongside the Minister of Power, Saleh Mamman, and Minister of State for Petroleum, Timipre Silva, said the prevailing circumstances necessitated the price increase on fuel, as the federal government, he explained, can no longer bear the burden of subsidizing the product, having lost 60% of its exchange earnings.
The angry reactions that have greeted the latest prices of premium motor spirit PMS are therefore unnecessary and totally mischievous. Gentlemen, the truth of the matter is that subsidizing fuel is no longer feasible, especially under the prevailing economic conditions in the country. The government simply can no longer afford fuel subsidy.
With the price of crude inching up, the price of petrol locally is also bound to increase, hence the latest price of 162 naira. The federal government, Lai Mohammed maintained, has sustained expenditures despite the downturn in the fortunes of the oil sector. The minister, while stressing the need for Nigerians to embrace the new price regime, said between 2006 and 2019, subsidy gulped 10.413 trillion naira.
The cost of fuel subsidy is too high and unsustainable.
He said Nigeria is the only country on the continent whose fuel price is the cheapest, when countries like Senegal sells at over 500 naira per litre. Cameroon, Burkina Faso and Mali sell at over 400 naira per litre. On electricity tariff, the minister said the hike was occasioned by the privatization of the sector. The federal government, having spent over 1.7 trillion naira by way of supplementing tariff shortfall, government, he said, cannot continue as it does not have such resources. The government, he added, is taking steps to connect Nigerians who are not connected to electricity completely, just as it is providing solar power to 5 million Nigerian households in the next 12 months, which will produce 250,000 jobs and impact up to 25 million beneficiaries.
Under this new arrangement, only customers with guaranteed minimum of 12 hours of electricity per day can have their tariff adjusted.
Again, the minister pointed out that the recent service-based tariff review, the cost is still cheaper or compares favorably with that of most African countries. Minister of State for Petroleum equally responded to a question from the journalists.
Successive governments have been trying to handle is this issue of subsidy. If every government has been trying to achieve this, then you know that it is in the national interest for us to achieve it. At one point, we must achieve it. We have gotten to that point now, and we call for understanding so that as a country, all of us should put hands together and ensure that we achieve this policy direction.
Lai Mohammed used the opportunity to call on the opposition and their allies to stop what he called dirty politics with the two issues. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Now, the federal government has expressed determination to sustain and improve upon the monthly distribution of food items to IDPs in the Northeast, describing the speculation of hunger in the region as baseless and unfounded. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, stated this in Maiduguri soon after a closed-door meeting with some development partners and handing over food items to Borno State government. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu was there.
Outbreak of activities of Boko Haram insurgent in the northeast in 2008 and the resultant effects, the federal government has been evolving ways of providing relief items to the victims at different IDP camps in the region. Although the distribution then was not without some gaps. However, in 2017, the federal government came up with new strategies of door-to-door monthly distribution of food items to the IDPs in the northeast. Since then, the issue of diversion and racketeering was put to rest. This visit of the Humanitarian Affairs Minister with cargo planes, loads of assorted food items to the IDPs in Maiduguri is part of the monthly commitment of the federal government.
And we have all come to agree with one voice that no population in this country that has been affected by any kind of disaster, either in the northeast or any other place, that is being faced with starvation. No population in Borno State is being faced with starvation. The government is doing its best. The humanitarian actors are doing their best. But as I mentioned, there are gaps. And we have come now to fill in those gaps.
The Director General of NEMA, Air Vice Marshal Muhammadu Mohammed, directed immediate distribution of the food items in collaboration with the State Emergency Management Agency. From Maiduguri in Borno State, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
Now to politics, where the All Progressives Congress APC has reinstated its commitment to positively harness the youths as part of efforts to reposition the party and provide purposeful leadership in Nigeria. The party's youth leaders from the 36 states at a meeting with the Caretaker and Extraordinary National Convention and Planning Committee have shown interest to redouble their efforts to sustain the party's victory at all times. Salihu Abdullahi reports.
According to the consolidated number of registered voters released by INEC before the 2019 general elections, the youth represent more than 50% of the voting power in Nigeria.
This has demonstrated the zeal.
This number is what the All Progressives Congress hopes to explore in order to strengthen its support base, hence the consultative interaction between the Caretaker Committee and representatives of the youth.
Critically, we propose some vital recommendations for changes in the APC constitution and guidelines for congresses and primaries, which we believe would see to better participation of young people in the party. I should also mention that one of the things we are looking at is designing and seeing the creation of a robust youth and functional youth directorate.
Building a united progressive family, the youth says, is a project that is so dear to them.
So we have to identify challenges with various states, various departments of this youth wing of the party. Is by so doing that we can be able to arrive at a better strategy.
Definitely our government has done so much, and the government is doing a lot, because no any government has initiated a lot of youth programs the way this government has initiated.
The youth have promised not to relent in discharging their role as APC ambassadors. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Ahead of October 10 governorship poll in Ondo State, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has handed the register of voters to the political parties in the state. Doris Olumoko reports that the commission also organized an electoral security training for security agents to ensure safety of lives and property before, during, and after the election.
Over the voters' register of 1,822,346 voters, which was used for the 2019 general elections in Ondo State, to the political parties, INEC National Commissioner Adekunle Ogumola explained that the decision was informed by the inability of the Commission to register new voters, issuance of permanent voters card, transfer of voters registration and replacement of lost PVCs due to the incidence of the coronavirus pandemic in the country. From the voters register, PVCs distributed at 1,478,460, while 372,888 are yet to collect their PVCs.
I assure you that the Commission will open the window for another continuous voter registration once the course is clear on the currently raging pandemic.
And in its quest to conduct free, fair and credible election devoid of violence, the Commission also organized a training on security during which experts enlightened stakeholders on election management and how to avoid violence during election and how to manage risk elements associated with it. In Akure, Doris Olumoko, NTA News.
And still on politics, the APC Campaign Council has organized a mega summit in Benin City to chart a course for the winning agenda for the party and the forthcoming Edo governorship election. A former Okafor has details.
In this hall are non-governmental organizations, civil society groups, labor subcommittees and professionals from across the state. They are interfacing with Pastor Iziyamo, who is the governorship candidate of the APC. The chairman of the occasion, who is also a Federal House of Representatives member, Professor Julius Ihonvere, said Iziyamo is the best choice.
We are at that moment when we must reflect, when we must invoke our fundamental rights to demand good governance, good leadership, accountable leadership.
So Iziyamo used the opportunity to sell his campaign agenda, the simple agenda mantra, to the participants.
There shall be regular town hall meetings with relevant stakeholders as a way of bringing government closer to the people, as well as a quarterly briefing on government activities by relevant heads of NTAs. Promote gender equality and women's rights by engendering sustainable development goals agenda that is capable of eradicating gender-based violence.
Participants later asked questions on grey areas. In Benin, Ifoma Okafor, NTA News.
And preparatory to the Edo and Ondo governorship elections, the Nigeria police is perfecting strategies to ensure a hitch-free poll. Francis Form reports that a meeting between top police management and 79 squadron commanders from across the country has been held, where emphasis was laid on professionalism, neutrality and citizen-friendly approach.
These are mobile police commanders in the 79 squadrons across the country. They are in Louis Edet House, Abuja, at the instance of the Inspector General of Police to discuss current security challenges, the deployment of personnel for Edo and Ondo election duty, due to the central role the mobile police play in tactical operations, is seen as key to the operational plans of the force towards a successful election in the two states.
For those of you to be deployed on this assignment, I must warn you to ensure that you operate strictly within the dictates of the Electoral Act. I strongly warn all political gladiators and the electors in Edo and Ondo states to situate all their electioneering activities within the dictates of the rule of law. They should be guided by the reality that no political ambition of any individual is more critical than our common national security interests.
The meeting also reviewed and discussed current internal security threats with a view to re-evaluating strategies, roles and performance in addressing some of the identified security challenges. In Abuja, Francis Form, NTA News.
You're watching the Network News tonight. It's time for our first break. To stay tuned.
We don't almost reach, Abby. Okay. Guys, the mechanic is almost here.
Madam.
So what do you think is wrong?
Madam, no be smart way they worry this your bike. Carburetor and radiator, you don't pafuka. If you want fix am, 50,000.
I guess I have no choice. Give me size 10 Allen Q.
Madam, the top don't spoil now. You need to buy new one. New one at 16,000.
Thanks for the help, guys. I'll be on my way now. For renting your tools.
Do what you've never done before. Find your first with these mega data plans. Dial *777#.
Abuja, which NUC describes as the pride of tertiary education in Nigeria, is inviting applicants to its 2020-2021 post-UTME admission screening exercise, which takes place online from 15 to 22nd September between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. daily. Applicants are to access the website admissions.abuja.edu.ng and follow the step-by-step guide to process application and write the post-UTME screening test. Those who fill the application forms manually should scan and forward them to the email post-UTME screening test at abuja.edu.ng. The forms should come with valid email and telephone number of the applicant. For further information, please call 081-277-2121 or 080-344-02771.
Abuja, a vision in action.
At Elizade Autoland, we don't just sell quality, we build quality. JAC Motors, assembled in Nigeria by Elizade Autoland. High demand for fleets of JAC Motor brands by members of the public and private sectors. JAC Motors are clearly built with one purpose in mind. They are built to serve. Elizade Autoland, sole distributor of JAC Motors in Nigeria.
We dey catch feelings, we dey cry.
Amaka,
Life is
kilo
easy,
shele.
try.
If
If you do better thing, you go thrive, mama.
Leave that house now. Amaka. Stay where you are. You are going nowhere. Amaka!
Movies like this, series and much more. Download the Airtel TV app.
Mr. Announcer, you not tell them say this film is still there on top of fire. And you say me, we see the shoot, oh.
Download the Airtel TV app from Apple and Android Play Store. Enjoy up to 1.5 gigabyte free data monthly.
Airtel TV by Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Nigerian Army invites applications from eligible Nigerians for commission into the Nigerian Army as Shore Service Combatant and Direct Shore Service Commission officers. Applicants must be Nigerian, male or female. The ages for Short Service Combatant is between 23 and 27, while those applying for Direct Shore Service Commission must be between ages 20 and 30, and medical consultant should not be more than 40 years of age. By January 2021, they must be physically, mentally, and medically fit according to Nigerian Army's standards. To apply, log on to www.recruitment.army.mil.ng. Upload a passport photograph, educational certificate, birth certificate or declaration of age, and certificate of state of origin. Follow the prompt and complete the application process. Then print out an online generated photo slip or card. All applications must be completed and submitted online not later than 29th September 2020. Military Secretary, Army Announcer.
In these uncertain times, one thing's certain. We're in this together. So Clean Protect, the antibacterial detergent that removes 99.9% germs while it cleans. Because germ-free clean is the real clean that we all need. Do your best to protect your family. So Clean Protect.
This boy, I could tell your mama for you.
I go tell your mama for you.
Just wait, I go tell your mama for you.
Make you wear your mask. If not, I could tell your mama.
Welcome back as we talk security matters now. Infrastructural development of the newly established Nigerian Air Force 203 Air Combat Reconnaissance Group, strategically located in Gombe State, has commenced following a groundbreaking ceremony flagged off by Governor Muhammad Inuwayaya and the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar. Defense correspondent Najatu Tijani reports.
Gombe, northeastern Nigeria, is critical to the fight against insurgency, and the location of the base near the Gombe airport is no coincidence, as such air bases not only act as a first line of defense, but also deploy and maintain air assets, especially UAVs in this scenario.
This land was allocated to the Nigerian Air Force in August 2020, and today, by the grace of Almighty God, we are here for the groundbreaking ceremony.
The establishment of this base in Gombe is yet another clear testimony of the federal government's commitment to overcoming the security challenges in the Northeast and indeed in the entire country.
The group is an armed, unmanned aerial vehicle unit comprising wings and squadrons equipped to cover conflict areas in Northeast, in the Northwest, and the North Central zones of the country.
230 hectares of land about to be built up to be the 203 Combat Reconnaissance Group, which will provide, among other things, educational services, healthcare services, and employment opportunities to the host communities, while being a hub for deployment of air power, especially in the area of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, aimed at enhancing response to contingencies in northeastern Nigeria. Najatu Tijani, NTA News.
Troops of Operation Lafia Dole have rescued 7 kidnapped victims and eliminated 5 terrorists in Borno State. A statement by the coordinator of Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, says the successful operation, conducted with support from the Air Task Force Operation Dole, a sequel to credible intelligence on the activities of Boko Haram ISWAP terrorists at Hamdaga Makaranta town in Guza local government area, Borno State. Major General Enenche notes that 9 identified isolated Boko Haram ISWAP structures and farmlands in the area were also destroyed. The military high command commended the gallant troops for their dexterity and encourages them to intensify the onslaught against the criminal elements in the northeast. Executive Committee of the Northern Traditional Rulers Council has waded into the search for lasting peace in southern Kaduna with a promise for more decisive collaboration with the federal and Kaduna state governments. May Jamara Adamu reports on the expanded meeting of the council held in Kaduna.
A call to action in search for lasting peace in southern Kaduna and indeed across all flashpoints in the northern region, as the Northern Traditional Rulers convene at these pre-independence Northern Traditional Council chambers to deliberate on workable inputs that will aid the cause of sustainable peace in the region.
Sultan Saad Abubakar stressing the unacceptability of the recurring crisis in southern Kaduna. This meeting, he says, is a follow-up to the meeting he had recently with Governor Nasir El-Rufai, and the participation goes beyond the statutory 19 northern states and Abuja chairman of Council of Chiefs, as traditional rulers from southern Kaduna and other stakeholders have been invited in search of sustainable peace.
And we believe at the end of this session, we'll come up with a position paper, we'll send to the Kaduna state government on the best way So one of the best ways of finding lasting solutions to peace and stability, not only in Kaduna State but in other parts of the northern states.
Governor Nasiru El-Rufai, who briefed the committee, lamented that mischievous elements are exacerbating the southern Kaduna crisis by injecting ethnic and religious coloration, stressing, however, that with the collaborative effort of the federal and Kaduna state governments and good-spirited stakeholders, much has been achieved in restoring peace to the area.
Whenever any of these cases of banditry occur in the southern part of Kaduna, some mischievous people deliberately try to make it an ethnic or religious issue, where it is simply an issue of criminals that have been afflicting everyone in many parts of our region.
The governor promised to accord deserving consideration to the envisaged position paper of the traditional rulers. In Kaduna, Maijama Adamu, NTA News.
Now, engineers fixing the failed portion of the Regachikun Bridge have continued excavation work. This is preparatory to the refilling the caved-in portion of the bridge. Abdullahi Mohammed has a situation report.
After a break on Sunday, work on the bridge has continued. The scope of work, however, seems to be increasing by the day. The engineers have focused their energy on fixing the transition base which caved in 9 days ago. While the alternative bridge, which now carries the bulk of the traffic, has part of it plunging in. Another part of the bridge, which is closed for rehabilitation, is also slowly giving way. Now the contractor has 3 transition bases of the 2 bridges to fix. While conducting excavation work, the machines have damaged fiber optic cables of communication network providers, which may lead to disruptions. And what may become the biggest stumbling block towards finishing the work on time is the rupture of a water pipeline, which leaves the work area flooded.
With one of the pipes belonging to the Kaduna State Water Board being punctured while excavation work was going on, it means this work has to be delayed until that pipe is fixed. In Kaduna, Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News.
Now, resident doctors have made true their threats by proceeding on the industrial action to press home their demands. Correspondents went out for a situation report in some hospitals here in Abuja.
A visit to the Federal Medical Center, Jabi, revealed the strike has commenced. The resident doctors were not on ground to attend to those seeking medical attention, making patients having to wait longer hours to see those around.
We are doing the much that we can to ensure that there will be minimal issues with regards to service delivery.
The second vice president of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, Dr. Olabi Sunday, says they are not shifting grounds as regards their stance.
Large number of our members are yet to be paid that April and May COVID inducement allowance. We have made our request known to the government.
The situation is not different at the National Hospital, Abuja, and as usual, members of the public seeking medical attention get to bear the brunt.
It's frustrating for patients to come to the hospital for treatment and not see somebody to attend to them.
We all come here to get services and to make sure that we're well. But at the end of the day, you get here and you hear that doctors are on strike.
Many are calling on the resident doctors and relevant stakeholders to ensure speedy resolution to avoid consequences before the situation gets to an alarming rate. In Abuja, Hakimat Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government has urged the National Association of Resident Doctors to suspend its ongoing industrial action as government has already addressed 6 out of the 8 demands listed by the association. In a statement, Minister of Labour and Employment Dr. Chris Ngige asked the National Association of Resident Doctors to respect the country's laws and suspend its industrial action. The Labour Minister noted that a high percentage of the association's demands have already been addressed, and with a pending case in the National Industrial Court of Nigeria, it has no reason to embark on an industrial action. The statement also says that in spite of scarce resources occasioned by COVID-19, the federal government has already spent 20 billion naira on the special hazard and inducement allowances for medical doctors and health workers for April, May and June 2020, with a few outstanding payments to some health workers for the month of June this year. The statement further adds that the federal government has expended 9.3 billion naira as premium for group life insurance for medical and health workers, while 4 billion naira was appropriated in the special intervention COVID-19, 500 billion 2020 appropriation for funding of medical residency training, and intended to do same in the ongoing 2021 budget. Now let's take you to Lagos, where Adeola Komiakere is on with reports.
Thank you, Kenny. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has entered into a strategic partnership with the Lagos State government as a follow-up to its quest to curb human trafficking. Annie Daniels reports that this is further enhanced by the inauguration of a task force for proper implementation of the laws against such acts.
The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, since inception has recorded great feats, and to further enhance the actualization of its mandate and vision, the agency has gone a step further by collaborating with the Lagos State government. Director General NAPTIP, Julie Donlioka, says the inauguration of the task force on human trafficking is very pertinent in actualizing the dream.
We have endemic areas where trafficking is very common. And we expect, that the state will go after these traffickers here in Lagos State, the task force, of course, to ensure that they stamp human trafficking out of Lagos State.
The overall objective of the task force is the coordination and reactivation of technical interagency cooperation meetings with key players to protect victims of human trafficking after access to justice, prosecution of human traffickers, and enhance the process of successful rehabilitation of victims.
There's a lot of organ harvesting going on. Organs of people are taken, frozen, and sent out by speedboats and by air to other countries.
One of the major works that the task force should do is to enlighten people, let people know where to go to seek redress.
The State Task Force on Human Trafficking will be chaired by the Attorney Generals of all states of the Federation, and representatives will be drawn from key ministries and agencies. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
And talking transportation now. Worried by the spate of road crashes involving trucks conveying petroleum products across the country, two key agencies are working harmoniously towards arresting the developments. Linda Neke reports on the partnership for this objective between the Federal Road Safety Corps and the Department of Petroleum Resources in Lagos.
Major roads across the country remains critical to the development of the nation's economy. To ensure that movement of persons and goods are hitch-free, the synergy between the FRSC and DPR is aimed at closing loopholes that enable mishaps on the highways and other routes across the nation. Reckless driving and disregard for professionalism by most petroleum tanker drivers were ticked as some of the reasons for minor and fatal crashes that occur on a regular basis.
All articulated vehicles fleet owners must register. So if you don't register on RSS portal, they must not be allowed to load.
A lot of consequence management that we use to deter. So regular sensitization, then development and deployment of enlightenment program, which like scooping, mass media, we are doing it in many Nigerian languages.
Description of vehicle registration numbers on the tanks of trucks for easy identification and periodic checks of haulage vehicles at loading points by Task Force Committee was named as one of the measures to check the menace. With this mutual agreement between the FRSC and DPR, optimism is high that road accidents caused by instability of some petroleum truck drivers will be reduced. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
We're done from here, but it's time for us to take another break, and thereafter the news will continue with Kenny in Abuja.
aṣọ ẹbí àwọn golden accessories. Aṣọ tó bad.
Mommy, is it not too early to be dressed?
Too early, get. Sure. I don't dance I bought since now.
Okay.
You think I go miss all the small shop? I don't do rishi.
Mommy.
Shebi na that take a caterer when they come out, they get side meal you take. And as for my women group, hey, na KSA or nothing at all.
Now when you get out?
You're familiar, Jerry. My pikin.
Mommy, your credit still there, so?
Of course now. Now we dey fetch credit like water. Trust Blue.
Talk non-stop for just 11 kobo per second to all networks. Dial star 311 hash.
You want to know where the party dey shele? Start here.
Glow Limited.
Ankara shopping with the right place for.
That one no fine.
No, nice.
No, it's too dull.
This one.
Oh wow, it's beautiful. Mama, this fabric. It gon' fade though.
Yeah. Look, make I tell you something. The new area Ankara, it go take good care of it.
No right.
Not lie. Not true.
And the price
Cheap.
Try new Ariel on your Ankara and colors now. Really good.
Make a load recharge card, I beg. I don't find the money.
Plenty day to win for the 9 Mobile Mega Millions promo. 1 million naira for one person every day for 90 days. 2 smartphones every hour, every day for 90 days. 10 million naira star price day. New customers just come with side or buy a new line, and we go send you free 1 gigabyte plus 500 naira airtime. So make you the recharge 200 naira or more. Make you for the win.
9 Mobile.
Tough on stains with longer lasting freshness. New Omo Extra Fresh with longer lasting freshness. Tough on stains with longer lasting freshness. New Omo Extra Fresh with longer lasting freshness. Tough on stains with longer lasting freshness. New Omo Extra Fresh with longer lasting freshness.
Guess what?
What?
I scored a hat trick today.
Cool.
Wow.
And how did you celebrate?
Just do your hands like this.
And hold your nose like this?
Body odor is caused by germs. That's why you need the new improved Dettol Cool Soap, which protects against 99.9% odor-causing germs with an extra burst of menthol freshness. Dettol, be 100% sure.
Make a load recharge card, I beg. I don't find the money.
Plenty day to win for the 9 Mobile Mega Millions promo. 1 million naira for one person every day for 90 days. 2 smartphones every hour, every day for 90 days. 10 million naira star price day. New customers just come with side or buy a new line, and we go send you free 1 gigabyte plus 500 naira airtime. So make you the recharge 200 naira or more. Make you for the win.
9 Mobile.
It is morning. A new beginning. As you prepare everyone for the day ahead, just anything is not enough. Only you make breakfast special, creamy, tasty, with vitamins and nutrients we need for a delightful, healthy start.
So start your day right with Hollandia Evolve. Right nutrients for a healthy breakfast.
This boy, I could tell your mama for you.
I go tell your mama for you.
Just wait, I go tell your mama for you. Make you wear your mask. If not, I could tell your mama.
ECOWAS leaders have resolved to collaborate more effectively towards deepening the economic and monetary integration, as well as consolidating political stability, peace and security. Taking this position at the end of an extraordinary summit in Niamey, Niger Republic, the leaders expressed gratitude to President Muhammadu Buhari for providing the coordinated strategic response to fight against COVID-19 in the sub-region. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has more.
The ECOWAS leaders, who had earlier considered a situation report submitted by President Muhammadu Buhari on COVID-19, noted with delight the improvement recorded in containment efforts, but urged member countries to remain vigilant to avoid a second wave of the pandemic.
It was very well received, it was applauded, it was comprehensive, and it dealt with all the complications that you will expect in an enterprise like that. And they also appreciated the effort he made to help to distribute COVID-19 relief materials, PPEs, ventilators, and so on, to all West African countries. That was particularly pointed out, and the President was thanked for that.
On the security situation, the summit expressed serious concern over the increasing incidence of terrorist attacks in the region, resulting into deaths, injuries, and internal displacement.
There's a peace fund for the sub-region to be more self-reliant in the fight against terrorism, and they want to raise over $1 billion for that peace fund. And they recognize Nigeria's contribution already, 100 million that we've contributed in that fight. So again, they were extremely grateful to, Mr. President for his commitment. I think that what we saw was the commitment of all the leaders to the ECOWAS vision and roadmap for greater regional integration and greater solidarity.
The ECOWAS leaders also discussed at length the contentious single currency program and noted with satisfaction that both the French and English-speaking West African countries are now on the same page.
It was a contentious issue because if you recall, December 2019, the authority of the heads of government of ECOWAS agreed at Abuja that all the countries must flow together, and until they comply with all the convergence criteria, that no country can be allowed to migrate into the ECO currency. But unfortunately, what happened was that on the same day as the ECOWAS meeting was ending in December 2019, President Ouattara went ahead to say that, the Francophone were migrating by June 2020 under different conditions that were set by the heads of government. But at today's meeting, the issue came up, and I'd like to put it mildly. They accepted that they made a mistake and that there is a need for them to now stick with the already agreed program and the timelines, as well as the conditionalities that have been put in place for this program.
The socio-economic and political situation in Mali was similarly revisited, with the heads of state and government insisting on a 12-month transition program to be executed by civilian leaders.
There are going to be about 4 elections to come in the sub-region, and so they realize that some of these could be problematic, and Mr. President, also made the point that it was important to have peaceful, fair, transparent elections in the sub-region. We've seen how in Mali now they've gone back to the old ways of coup d'etat, and so that we really have to be careful to maintain that reputation for which ECOWAS is known, stable political environment.
Meanwhile, President Nana Akufo-Addo of the Republic of Ghana was elected as the new ECOWAS chairman, while the candidature of Nigeria's Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has been endorsed for election as Director General of the World Trade Organization. President Muhammadu Buhari has since returned to Abuja. Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Jane Basi in Port Harcourt takes us through the next set of reports.
Mama, to curb infant and maternal mortality in River State, the state government is repositioning its health sector through intervention programs that would improve primary health delivery services. This coming on the heels of a work plan to save 1 million lives retreat held in Port Harcourt. Ijoma Ugweke reports.
6 key intervention programs the state government is for improvement are immunization against childhood illnesses, elimination of mother-to-child transmission of HIV, use of skilled birth attendants. Others include use of contraceptives and family planning, as well as breastfeeding and use of insecticide-treated nets. Commissioner for Health, Professor Prince Chike, while reeling out the achievements so far recorded in this program since inception, assured integration of more ideas and innovations to strengthen primary health care delivery in the state.
We're even doubling our effort to make sure that no stone is left unturned on our primary to secondary and tertiary facilities and encourage them. We thank God we have the political will because the governor is there supporting the health sector.
And basically, we encourage the state to ensure that they carry out what we call integrated supporting supervision every quarter. They carry out what we call MSH, which is Maternal and Child Health Week.
Representatives of World Health Organization and other development partners have commended Rivers State government for the progress made so far in the area of health through institutionalizing health programs that impacts positively on the citizenry. In Port Harcourt, Ijomu NTA News.
In a bid to ensure that the criminal justice system is not impeded in the country by impact of COVID-19, Cross River State COVID-19 response team is supporting the Nigerian Correctional Service with materials for its isolation center. This is to ensure that the pandemic is prevented and curtailed among inmates as the service begins to admit new inmates. Paul Abel reports.
Since March 2020, the Nigerian Correctional Service in the state stopped admitting new inmates due to the fear of likely spread of COVID-19. But with the new stance of the service to open its doors to lawbreakers, the need to put things in order becomes imperative. This informs the collaboration between the COVID-19 Task Force team and the Correctional Service in sample collection and equipping of its isolation center with PPEs, infrared and digital thermometers, among other materials.
What is most important for us is the fact that we want to prevent a COVID-19 outbreak in the Correctional Service Center. We do not want a case where someone who is positive goes in and begins to infect other people and it leads to loss of lives or morbidity in this center.
We are very grateful for the way that the Commissioner has responded on behalf of the government. That's why I even say that on behalf of my Controller General, we should extend our gratitude to His Excellency, Professor Ben Ayade.
It is the view of both parties that the measure will go a long way not only to limit the spread of the disease, but also normalize the criminal justice system. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
We'll now pause for some commercials. The news will continue with Kene in Abuja shortly.
Your hogs are a comfy place for dropping in, for lazing around, and hanging out. So we've designed our hugs to be just as comfy, with a super absorbent core to lock wetness away, and a soft, flexible waistband. Our most comfortable diaper keeps baby comfy at every angle. We'll never stop finding new ways to hug more like you. Huggies, your hugs inspire ours.
Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white cloths, towels, and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it. Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white cloths, towels, and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it.
Passengers who have been waiting to embark on a foreign trip as soon as the airport reopens departed the international wing of the Abuja airport to get to their destinations as Ethiopian airline made history to be the first to touch down as international flight begins in Abuja. Aviation correspondent Emmanuel Ayimiro reports that about 300 passengers departed to Addis Ababa, while 120 passengers arrived at Abuja airport.
Starting from the departure gate to the ticketing section, this hall that has been empty for almost 5 months suddenly woke up to a surge in passenger traffic as the airport reopens to international flights. For departing passengers, it was a long dream come true, which informed the large turnout on day 1 of flight resumption.
4 months, 4 or 5 months, we are waiting for this opportunity. Actually, okay.
A long time we're waiting for, and we hope that from today the international connection continued. We're traveling with 7 guys from Russia, and today we to home to Russia.
For those itching to return, all thanks to Ethiopian Airlines, which arrived Abuja Airport to signal intercontinental connections.
I've been away since March. It's kind of nice to be back. I mean, and it looks over here, everything is very nice.
I feel very happy. I haven't seen my husband for 6 months, so I feel very happy to be able to come back here.
It's a lifesaver for all of us in the aviation industry. The last 7 months even, it has been very, very slow, very challenging. We've been distressed, no revenue, no business, no operations. But seeing the first flights coming in with the domestic gave us a lot of confidence that we are coming back. And now with the internationals, I believe every stakeholder in our industry is very happy with this.
More airlines have indicated their intentions to resume international operations to Abuja Airport. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
That's the network news tonight. Good night.
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News.
A national communion.
This is the network service of the NTA. NTA TV College Jos of Ahmadu Bello University.